Hi, this weekend I kicked off my Christmas holiday with the big Christmas movie, which I caught the night that I finished work for the season, Kraven the Hunter, the final installment in Sony's Spider Man spin off universe. Um, the reason that Sony has been making these movies is simply because they want a slice of the Spider Man pie. Um, they're unable to make Spider Man movies without the involvement of Marvel, so they've instead been able to make films based around subsidiary Spider Man characters. So we had the three Venom movies, which were enormously successful commercially. We had Morbius, which was a bomb and rapidly became a cult classic. We had um, Madame Web, which was a bomb and has become a notorious cult classic. And now we have Craven the Hunter. This film has been on the shelf for getting on for 3 years, and it was hoped that it would pick up some steam over Christmas because of the lack of uh, major competition. All the other films being released around this time are aimed at a younger audience. So, an action movie aimed at adults, it's in fact R rated. It was felt this would be a safer bet. The film has, of course, been a gigantic failure. It's, as I say, spun off from the Spider Man villain of the same name. And we follow young Sergei Kravenov, or whatever his name is, trying to get out from under the shadow of his vicious gangster father, played by Russell Crowe, who appears to be channeling the character of Pop, the cruel Greek Cypriot landlord from the League of Gentlemen, complete with accent. Sergei goes off out into the world, and after an encounter with a lion that sees lion blood get into him, and then a voodoo curse or tarot or something, he is able to commune with animals and has animal powers and decides to take out all the world's big game hunters for their cruelty and violence. But gang war infiltrates his world and he's drawn back into his family's orbit. This movie is dreadful. It's absolutely awful. Morbius had the saving grace of Matt Smith's performance. He's magnetic in that movie, and really makes up for Jared Leto being a giant black hole of an actor. The Venom films I genuinely like. I think they're genuinely entertaining and enjoyable superhero action movies, and Tom Hardy is terrific. Here we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, with good material, is a fine actor, but he really struggles here because Sergey, or Craven as he renames himself, is such a boring, annoying person who is constantly telling other people how great he is. Um, we we have Russell Crowe's performance, which is almost heroically laughable. As I said, he's just doing a silly accent and playing the character just like Pop from the League of Gentlemen, trying to pit his two sons against each other. Um, we have a love interest played by Ariana DeBose, who has so little romantic connection with Taylor Johnson that it looks as though they had to rewrite the script to accommodate how they had no chemistry. There's a scene early on where the young version of her character meets her grandmother, and her grandmother is played by the worst actor I have ever seen in a $100 million movie. I can't remember the actor's name, but she is absolutely appalling, delivering her lines with a weird lack of affect, strange emphasis on the wrong words, and seemingly totally disconnected from what's going on around her. It's shockingly bad. The director is JC Chandor, who directed the excellent Margin Call over a decade ago, a film about the night before the financial crash of 2008. And it was a superb film, turning something that could have been dry and static into something propulsive and engaging and compelling. And now making a big blockbuster movie, he's a total failure. I can only imagine that the film was massively recut and massively reshot, and he wasn't allowed to take his name off it because it's borderline incoherent. Most of the dialogue is terrible. The acting is, at best, serviceable, at worst, genuinely amateurish. I have seen amateur productions with better acting than some of the actors in this film, and that's the actors in major roles. Um, it's so lacking in any kind of energy or compulsion towards the audience. I had no idea why I should care about what was happening most of the time. I don't give a crap about any of these gangs, and cap it all off, you have a villain played by Alessandro Nivola who is completely miscast, who for most of the movie walks around in a short sleeve shirt with a little rucksack on, looking like an overgrown schoolboy. It turns out his rucksack contains a special drug that he has to be constantly infusing into himself because otherwise he turns into a monster. There is minimal explanation given for this. He saw a doctor in New York. There's a lot of attempt in the story to try and make this the first in a series. That the assumption is this there will be sequels, but even Chandor himself felt that there was only mileage in one more movie, and even then it would have to be a crossover with Spider-Man. Sony's strategy of trying to spin a whole series of movies out of the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery is so laughable. It's such an absolute joke. It it it's almost pleasurable to see how badly this film has failed. It's been an absolute disaster at the box office. It's been an absolute disaster with critics. It's a genuinely terrible film. It's one of the worst I've seen this year. And it only stops being even further down the list because there are moments of genuine entertainment at how terrible this is, at the weird choices, at the bad dialogue, at the incoherent story and trying to piece together what you're watching. It's diabolically bad. Next year, we're getting a relaunch of the two main superhero franchises, Marvel and DC. We're getting a new Superman movie from James Gunn, which the trailer already being out looks very promising. We're getting a new tranche of Marvel movies after having only one this year, a new Captain America film, Thunderbolts, their own take on the Suicide Squad concept. These are promising. Hopefully, Kraven will be a signal that people won't just accept any old superhero shit that's slopped down in front of them. They expect quality. They expect story and characters and ideas and engagement and drama and entertainment, not just any old crap. I hope that Marvel and DC have taken this on board because Sony has decided that they just can't be bothered making the effort anymore. And that's why this is the last one.